You think you chose McDonald's. You didn't. The craving chose for you. Before you saw the sign, before you smelled the fries, before any conscious thought, a system already running inside your own brain had made the decision. McDonald's didn't build the world's most visited restaurant by accident. It built it by studying you. Here's what most people assume about fast food. They assume they eat it for convenience or price, or because it occasionally tastes good. That assumption is what the system depends on. In 2009, former FDA Commissioner David Kessler, a physician and Harvard-trained lawyer who spent a decade investigating the food industry, published The End of Overeating. His conclusion was this: the major fast food companies had not stumbled into a product people craved. They had reverse-engineered the human neurological reward system and built a delivery mechanism for it. What looks like a meal is a precision instrument. Let's start with the Bliss point. In the 1970s, food scientist Howard Moskowitz was hired by the processed food industry to find the perfect formula for maximum craving. Not maximum nutrition, not maximum flavor, maximum craving. Moskowitz ran thousands of trials, varying combinations of salt, sugar, and fat, measuring not what people said they preferred, but what triggered the strongest compulsive desire to keep eating. He found it: a precise ratio of fat to salt to sugar that activates the brain's reward center more powerfully than any single ingredient alone. Michael Moss documented this research in Salt, Sugar, Fat, his Pulitzer Prize-winning investigation into the food industry, confirming that this formula is not an accident of taste. It was engineered. And McDonald's uses it in almost every item on its menu. But what exactly is that formula doing to your brain? In 2009, Yale University developed the Yale Food Addiction Scale, the first scientifically validated tool for measuring addictive eating behavior. The research found that ultra-processed foods, specifically those engineered to combine fat, sugar, and salt at the Bliss point ratio, activate the same dopamine pathways in the brain as cocaine and alcohol. Not a similar pathway, the same pathway. The Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics confirmed that repeated exposure to these combinations physically alters the brain's reward threshold, meaning you need more of the same food to achieve the same level of satisfaction. That is the clinical definition of tolerance. The same mechanism that drives addiction drives the return visit. So why red and yellow? Because color psychology is not decoration. It is neurological strategy. Red triggers urgency and appetite stimulation. Yellow triggers happiness and energy association. Combined, at the specific saturation McDonald's uses, they produce what environmental psychologists call an approach response, a subconscious pull toward the stimulus. But the most precise targeting doesn't happen to adults. The American Psychological Association's report on food marketing to children confirmed that brand loyalty and food preferences is established as early as age 2, before children can read, before they can evaluate a menu, before they have any concept of nutrition. Ronald McDonald was not a mascot. He was a precision instrument for reaching children at the only moment when brand attachment forms for life, before rational choice develops the capacity to interfere. By the time a child develops the cognitive ability to question the preference is already permanent. But here's the part nobody tells you. It goes further than the formula and the colors. Brian Wansink, professor at Cornell University and author of Mindless Eating, spent years documenting how portion size perception works. His research found that people consistently underestimate how much they consume when portions are presented in larger containers, and that the impulse to finish what is in front of you overrides fullness signals by an average of 38%. Supersizing was not invented to feed hunger. It was invented to bypass the signal that stops hunger. And then there is smell. McDonald's invests heavily in what food scientists call olfactory engineering, designing the exact point at which the smell of cooking fat reaches the street outside each restaurant. Research published in the Journal of Sensory Studies confirmed that food aromas trigger a craving response before any visual or cognitive signal, meaning the decision to enter often happens before conscious awareness catches up. You smelled it before you chose it. And there is one final mechanism most people overlook entirely. Consistency. McDonald's has 40,000 locations in over 100 countries, and the fries taste identical in every single one of them. That is not logistics, that is psychology. Eric Schlosser documented in Fast Food Nation that McDonald's employs an entire division of flavor scientists whose sole function is to ensure that the product delivers an identical neurological response in every market on Earth. Because the brain does not just crave the flavor, it craves the reliability of the flavor. Psychologists call this a conditioned stimulus response, the same mechanism that caused Pavlov's dogs to salivate at the sound of a bell. The sight of the sign, the smell from the door, the first bite. Each one is a trigger that has been calibrated to produce the same response, every single time. So here is the uncomfortable truth. You are not eating food. You are consuming a neurologically optimized delivery mechanism, engineered by food scientists, tested on millions of people, and refined across 60 years of compulsion research. The hunger you feel isn't hunger. It's a signal, produced by a system that was designed to produce it. As David Kessler, the man who spent a decade exposing the food industry, put it, "We've created a drive to eat that isn't about hunger. It isn't about pleasure. It's about a stimulated brain that has been hijacked." McDonald's didn't build a restaurant. It built a trigger. And your brain fires it every time. Now that you understand the mechanism, here is what nutrition scientists and behavioral researchers say you can actually do about it. First, never make food decisions when you are already hungry. Research from Cornell University's Food and Brand Lab found that people who planned their meals in advance, before the hunger signal activated, chose significantly lower calorie options and spent on average 30% less at fast food restaurants. The craving is strongest when your resistance is lowest. Plan before the signal fires. Second, eat a high-protein snack before entering any fast food environment. Clinical research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition confirmed that protein consumption before a meal reduces dopamine-driven cravings for high-fat, high-sugar combinations by up to 40%. You cannot easily override a dopamine trigger, but you can reduce how loudly it fires. Third, recognize the consistency trap. If you find yourself returning to the same food, not because you decided to, but because the pattern simply continues, that is a conditioned response, not a choice. Awareness of the mechanism is the first step to interrupting it. That's the logic they don't want you to see. Next week, we go deeper. Inside the debt trap your bank built, and why the minimum payment was never designed to get you out. Subscribe. Next week, we go deeper.